Anyway.
Yeah, it is. It is. Chris will be in the room, and he'll give us an update
Oh, is he
from,
coming? Good. Good. I
first.
hope.
Yeah, he texted me and he sent me a bunch of links. And when he gets in the room, I will show you what he sent me. One of the videos from a Ring doorbell that actually from his neighbor that caught him leaving the house. So we'll show you that in a minute. But in the first minute, let me just say this: welcome everybody to Thinking Out Loud with Friends, and remember, everything you hear today is an opinion. We're off and running. There you go. Let's do it.
Hey, Dave Dansky, welcome home. Are you actually home?
I'm home for another couple of hours, and then I'm heading down to Nam.
Oh, it's Nan time.
Yeah, yep. I'm going to go stay on the bus tonight. The band is in Anaheim, so the guys in the band can go to their first Nam show.
So
I have
they're not playing?
Huh?
They're not going to play at NAMM?
No, they're just going to see the manufacturers and talk to get to their first NAMM show. And the bus had to come back to LA anyways. So being that the bus had to be here, he drove it to an RV park in Anaheim, and they're all spending the night there. So I'm going to go down and spend the night in the bus tonight so I can get to NAMM in the morning without rush hour traffic.
Oh, and parking sucks too. So yeah.
Yeah, and I can park at the bus, and there's a $6 shuttle back and forth all day long.
Oh, that's great.
From the RV.
Well, you should hook up with Kurt Hare and get all the BLers to go hang out on the bus.
Yeah, I can have some fun.
I think Kurt is going down there. Anybody else in the room going down to NAMM? I wish I was going. NAMM is such a fun show.
It is fun. I was going to go, but I'm not.
Wayne,
ready to flash back, Jan? Here you go. Look. You see that?
All right, A1 Audio Services. Hey.
In great condition also. Looks brand new.
Yeah,
looks brand new. Yeah, that's cool. I love it. Mark, good to see you, man.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, Mark's doing this on tour. Mark, tell us about what you're doing. I think it's pretty cool.
On Tour Network, and I'm having an issue with the developer, the back end developer. Oops, sorry about that. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but it's something to keep me busy.
Well, what was your concept? What were you hoping to get?
It's a miniature Facebook for the touring crowd, basically. It's a network.
No, really.
ontournetwork.com, and right now there's a couple blogs. I put a welcome thing up there. Then I'm gonna anybody that wants a feature their company or a story about what's going on their tour.
Hey, I'm raising my hand right now. I want to promote this.
Yeah, well, actually, you have a blog up there. I got SOUNDBROKER blog entry on there, and then I've got my welcome thing, and then there's a couple of gallery photos of different things, which is not complete. It's up before it's ready to be up. But I put it off for a long, long time, and now I've done it. So there you go.
Well, let me know if there's anything that I could do for you, because, during the day, I usually have nothing to do. It's at night that I'm really busy. So, during the day, I got nothing going on because when everybody's sleeping.
What led me to do this. So I also have a domain ontournews.com that I've not done anything with yet. So
the challenge with the news, as I was saying, and the reality of our industry news, there is no central location of where real news comes. Everything that you see in the news of like Pro Sound News or Live Sound News, it's not really news. It's being paid for by the manufacturers.
Right. Well, Polestar. And I don't mind if somebody wants to pay me to put stuff up there. That's fine. But right now I'm doing everything to keep busy, and if it helps the company keep going or get going or whatever, that's fine. But I hear about stuff the same way everybody else does, but I'm trying to get information about, like, for instance, the Fire Aid show. I don't even know. I can imagine, I'm guessing who's doing it, but I don't know. It's just different tidbits here and there, just kind of to keep me involved. I'm doing it really for myself, and if anybody else wants to enjoy it, then they can.
Hey, well, if you want to, if you're looking for part-time work, there might be an opening at SOUNDBROKER for you,
If I can do
and
it,
you
if I
can
can
spread
do
the
it from
word on
here,
that.
if I can do it from home, I'm in.
Oh man, you could definitely do it from home. There's no other place. There's no place like home.
That's
That's
it.
it.
I'm ready. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool. So,
Yeah.
David, you're going to NAM. What are you hoping to see?
Old friends.
Yeah, it's mostly networking for us old guys,
Yeah, that and looking at the young chicks in hot boots and
Not anymore.
halter
So-
tops.
That's long gone those days.
So if you
Are
got
you
a couple
kidding?
minutes, I got a funny story for you.
We got more than a couple of minutes. We have 60 minutes.
All right, so I used to go to NAM quite a bit, and AES too, which I really don't do anymore. When AES gave up on PA systems, that's when I stopped going. But anyway, so I got married a while back, and my wife, she had never been to anything like that before, and NAM is like so trippy, and it's just there's so much stuff, and there's people playing stuff, and there's just PA systems and mixers and musical instruments, and downstairs there's the don't buy it because it's made in China zone, and and all that other kind of crazy shit, right? So I get Annie a badge because Gary at New West Marketing used to get me badges every year. So I put on my badge my company name, which is the audio image, and I put on it, engineer and owner. And I put on her. I said to her, I said, so what do you want to be at my company? And she says, well, I'm not an A1, and I'm sure not an A2 and an A3. And I says, yeah, but you could probably go for an A17. So she goes, oh, that's cool. So I put, the audio image, Annie Lee, the audio image A17, right? So she says, what should I do while we're there? And I says, well, I'm going to walk around and talk to a shitload of people. I says, this is kind of like see everybody I haven't seen in a year or so week. And we'll just do that. And I said, I'm going to talk to a lot of gear people that I'm interested in too. And most of these people I know. And I said, so here's the key. Here's what you need to do. I said, if I'm talking about some piece of gear and you really get bored, I said, I'm going to look over at you and I'll say, so what do you think? And you look at me and say, what did they used to say on Star Trek?
Beam me up, Scotty.
No. The other thing that the newer version of Star Trek, the guy used to say, I don't remember.
So it'll be, or something like that?
Yeah, it was one of those little sayings that he always used to say. So she said, oh, okay.
Make it so.
Make it so, number one. Remember?
Yeah, make it so. There you go. Greg Baker finally comes through.
Oh, so
That's
we would
it.
walk. So
We've been
we
waiting
would
for
walk.
you all day, Greg.
So we would walk around and I'd talk to the Yamaha guy, and we could be going through the new consoles or whatever, and I'd look over and I'd say, so what do you think, Annie? And she'd look at me and say, make it so, number one. And we had the sales guys just on the floor in hysterics because it didn't take them long to figure out that she didn't have a clue. And she was my wife, and she was just there to ride along and experience the whole thing. But they got a bang out of the A17. But what are we gonna call her? So the whole thing was just very funny. It was.
I'll tell you a secret about these shows, especially NAM. If you're going to get a badge that says buyer, and then everybody loves you.
Everybody's your best friend.
Yeah, if it says buyer on that badge, you are all right.
Very funny.
By the way, thanks, Mark. That was good to see.
Yeah.
Buyers equals babes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it means you get free meals and shit like that. They invite you out for because basically, I don't know what it's like today. In the old days, it would be the manufacturers would have parties, and if you were a buyer, they invited you. If they thought you were going to buy a lot of shit, then they took you out to good restaurants. One of my favorite stories is with oh God, I just got mental block on his name. It'll come to me in a minute. Who's the guy at Digico?
Wayne Sims.
No, not Wayne Sims. Who's the head? Matt Larson. So when I was with A1, Matt Larson took Albert and I out to, and I was with SOUNDBROKER. I was already SOUNDBROKER. Albert from A1, myself. He took us out to this place called the White House by the Anaheim Convention Center, and it was exquisite. We were having lobster and filet mignon. I'm telling you, it had to set him back tens of thousands of dollars for this meal, champagne, everything like that. And after it was all over, I thanked him. It was great. I thought we were good friends. and I wanted the Digico line for SOUNDBROKER, and the guy wouldn't even take my call after that. So
But did
at
you have
least I got a free meal out of it.
But did you have sex with him?
No sex with him. I'm not that kind of guy.
Well,
I don't
hey,
get.
you fell for the expensive meal, though. I mean,
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. Even if I did, I wouldn't be saying it right now. That's for sure. Because I don't kiss and tell. No kissing and tell.
Bruce.
What? I'm sorry.
Bruce, you got to remember, he's a married man now.
I know, yeah.
Oh, but I wasn't married then. I wasn't married then, Greg.
It don't matter now.
He's a lucky man.
Does your wife have any idea of your past life?
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. As a matter of fact, when, one of the things that, David and I, of course, go back for years and years and years. And there was a point in time where Myrna wouldn't get together with me to go out to dinner because she said to David that she doesn't want to invest any more time in any of the women that I'm bringing around because she would like these women and then I wouldn't see them again after a week. So Myrna says, no way are we going out with Jan until, unless he's alone.
Oh, that's funny.
I love Myrna.
Too much blow.
I love that. Well, it was actually the Quaaludes that killed me. The blow, not so much.
Is that helicopter footage that Mark's showing us?
Mark, let's see.
Yeah.
Let me see. Here, hold on. Let me pin Mark so we could all look at it. You got to pull back a little bit on your camera because it just looks like somebody's hairy ass. There you go.
So I have my daughter when she was in high school. Her best friend's dad flew one of those helicopters, and boy, are those guys amazing! They are so amazing.
Yeah. Bruce, you sent me some very interesting footage of those helicopters.
Yes, and I said basically, thank you, firefighters, for doing such an amazing job. And they were helicopters and airplanes, like zooming in and doing this. They were doing crazy shit to get their water and their red, anti-flammable crap where it needed to go. And man, I'll tell you, those guys are fearless and they're so good.
They've got a crazy ring of frost check around this fire, and it gets right up to the fire gets right up to the frost check, and it just goes out. It's nuts.
What color is that? Is it red?
Now they have to ground the fixed wing because it's dark, so it's just going to be water from the helicopters with the night vision.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy. Pretty brutal.
That's just scary stuff, man.
So scary. Are everybody on the West Coast okay?
It's 79 degrees today.
It is. It's a beautiful day. In fact, it's still pretty warm. I think it's still over 70 outside.
All right.
But the wind's blowing, though. The wind's blowing pretty hard. So
there you go. Look at it. Could you see it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And where I'm at.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Got snow.
They do that with the DC-10s, too.
Oh, is this the guy that's going to turn around? Watch this guy turn around. He uses the weight of this water to spin him around. This is crazy stuff. They're so good, man. It just amazes me.
Probably an old Vietnam guy, I bet.
I'm sure they are. My friend who flies one is a Vietnam helicopter pilot.
I mean, it's amazing that these planes, what they can do.
We rent the super scoopers from Quebec, the ones that they just fly right into the lake, scoop it up.
Yeah, the yellow one.
It's crazy.
The weight changes on those planes. That's got to be absolutely scary to fly those things because as they're scooping up water, they go from weighing not so much to just weighing blithering tons. And then when they fly over, they dump it all, So the changes got to be just amazing.
There's a video on YouTube. Forgot what it is. Super scooper, inside the
cabin.
It explains the whole thing, the way the intake and then how it dumps the water and the weight changes, like you were saying.
Yeah. When I lived in Shadow Hills, they had a pond up on top of the hill right there where they saved water, and the backup water and power building was up there in case, we had a nuclear blast or whatever. They could go up on the hill and underground and run the whole city from up there. And it was about a half a mile from my house up on the hill. And I used to watch those guys with the helicopters come in and suck water out of that pond. And oh, they were so fast. They just haul ass in there and they'd stop on a dime like 20 feet above the water. And, 2 seconds later, they were full and off they'd go.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Chris is not here, but he was supposed to be here. But I want to share a picture that he sent me. Let me see if there it is. Look at this. That's I think that's his house.
Wow. So sad.
Yep. Anyway, I'm hoping he's coming into the room in a few minutes. But anyway, it's it's crazy what's going on out there.
I'm hearing which I did not know for somebody who lives
Dan, now, Bruce, can I interrupt you?
Yes. Yeah.
Jan, was that his mom's house or his house?
I am not sure what it is. I think this is the house across the street from him, but I'm not 100% sure. So when he gets here, when he gets here, he'll tell us.
Right, because the photo that you showed looked like the photo from last week when Chris was here, and that was his mom's house, and he was down the hill, and then at that time, his house was safe. Sans 2 Meyer 900s that he couldn't hump out of his place.
Yeah,
I'm
not really sure.
I think his property has 3 houses on it. I think that was and I think it was his mom's originally. So what I was going to say is what I'm hearing now is a friend of mine's cousin, his aunt and uncle had a house up there on the mountain in Palisades, and the kids inherited the house, whom I know, and they lost everything, and the house was not insured. And what I've started to hear from them who live there is a lot of it is older money, and the houses were passed down through the family, and a lot of people can't get insurance on these houses anymore. So there's a great many of them that nobody owes on, but they're not insured. And they're, they've been in the family for a generation or two. There's not that many like brand new, like you'd think of, Mel Gibson building a bazillion-dollar mansion up there 3 years ago. There's not that much of that stuff.
No, I would say you're right about that. I've heard, Kenny Newman put up this chart. I don't know where he got it, of all the people that were hurting and with GoFundMe. I don't have a copy of it right now. I just donated. By the way, if you have just a public service announcement right now, if you're using the Apple environment, if you go to the App Store, the first thing you see is donate to the Southern California Red Cross. Yesterday, I donated $100. It's really easy to do. And so if you want to help out those people, you can do it. Just go up to the App Store. It's right there. Yeah, it's the Red Cross.
It's they're all over it, and there's so many other people, and it's fading.
Yeah,
all of this is fading into the background with everything else that's going on in the world, but those people's lives are not,
No, those people's lives are definitely not. Definitely not. Here, I'll show you real quick. If you go to the App Store, I don't know what's going on here. Let me make this bigger. There it is. Did you see it? Well, let me go back. There it is. You see it over there in the App Store?
Right there? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, right. If you go into the App Store, it's right there. It's the first thing you see. And so it's really easy to donate.
Stewart right now, there are wildfires, new ones.
Yeah.
And did you see the fire aid shows that are coming up on the 30th?
Oh my God, that's amazing what they're doing. I've got something on that as well.
Sold out today, obviously, right away. Both venues are sold out immediately. And
Okay.
that's quite a lineup, right? Both.
Billy, okay, I'll just read it to you right now. Okay, so this was as of a couple of days ago. Let me just, okay, accept that one. Let me, boy, I'm sharing a lot today. Normally I never share this much. But there you go.
Yeah, that's
There's
right.
the Fire Aid concert, right? Billie Eilish, Dave Matthews and John Mayer, Earth, Wind and Fire, Lady Gaga, Little Baby, Pink, Gracie Abrams, Green Day, Gwen Stefani, Jelly Roll, Joni Mitchell, Kate Perry, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Rod Stewart, Stephen Stills, Stevie Nicks, Sting, Tate McRae, and I'm sure there's going to be even more.
Yeah, Olivia Rodrigo, and they've added a whole bunch. They've got the venue specific acts now. If you look, it's updated to where it shows you who's at the Forum and who's at the Intuit Dome. One of them starting at 6 o'clock and one's at 7:30, and it's all being streamed on pretty much every possible platform and radio broadcast on Sirius. But yeah, I mean, everything from the local channels to Prime and Netflix and
when is it?
The 30th.
30th?
By the way, I just had a great idea, Mark. I have an idea where we're going to incorporate on-tour news, and that we're going to have you present a story or two stories every week. We'll do the Mark J. on-tour news corner. There you go.
The pressure's on.
Now you got pressure, babe.
Yeah, that's
now you
good.
got pressure.
I can use some.
Yeah.
I can use it.
Yeah. The only thing I'm going to ask you is to move your camera a little bit so your head's not cropped out.
I have to fix it. It's just a cheap crap. I've got to get a new one that works. Actually, I never used it except for this. So
there's some really cool new cameras out there, that are very inexpensive. But anyway, another show that's coming up is our buddy Mr. Robert Scoville's band, Kenny Chesney. They are doing the Sphere.
Right.
He's going to be in the Sphere from May 22nd to June 14th.
You owe $20 in the tip jar, sir.
No, I can talk about the Sphere anytime I want. I'm a Las Vegian. I can, if there's such a word, Las Vegian.
When were you, with the exception of the time you came back to be married, when were you in Vegas? I was in Vegas for 2 months last year, or in 2024. No, more than that. I was in Vegas for about 5 months last year. Believe it or not. No. Before that, the Sphere. Before that, I wasn't even born. Yeah. Okay. I'm pulling your leg, but before that, I wasn't even born. Listen. To go back to Mark's. But before you go off of in a tangent, and I'll let you do that. I want to talk to you about Scoville. What's going on? Is he not doing the back lounge now? He's ahead of it's NAMM week.
It's NAMM week. He's got a big lift right now. It'll be back after probably next week after NAMM's over. Plus he's in rehearsals with all this new stuff. He's trying to figure it out. He posted some sort of an engineering book online this morning. It's pretty funny.
I think that was about bagpipes. If you saw,
it was about bagpipes, but it was still pretty.
There you go. So with all the things he's doing with bagpipes and Kenny Chesney and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. EAW, sir. When does he have time for that? When does he have time for EAW?
Well, that's his gig these days. He's not at Abbott anymore, so that's why all these things are taking up all of his time.
Wasn't he a big promoter of the Enyas?
Yes.
Yeah. He's Mr. Adaptive.
Yeah, didn't he? Well, we were going to do that show.
That's not something for you to laugh at. Actually, it's
Mr. Adaptive. It's just funny.
Yeah.
I used the Myers. I used the Rankis-Hines adaptive system one time, and I spent a whole week with it. And it did what it was supposed to do in the Long Beach arena very, very well. But what I didn't like about it, and of course, this was a number of years ago, so it was probably the Anias came out and then Rankus came out with theirs, and then, other people have done some stuff.
Right.
But I think it was like version 1. And I got to tell you, it was very electronic sounding. I felt like all my presenters were talking through a pitch corrector. The technology to make it put sound where you wanted it to was absolutely scary and unbelievable. It worked. I had gain for days with people on frickin' lavaliers in an arena, but I spent 5 days with this thing with couple of small bands and a lot of video playback and everything. And I just spent all week trying to make it sound warm and fuzzy, and it just wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
I walked away from it not really liking it. Yes,
Bruce,
sir.
You're in SoCal. Just go and listen. All right.
I've never heard any of the other ones. Yeah.
Listen. Robert's there. You can tell him that exactly.
Hold on, Mark. I'll pin you.
I was skeptic as well, and.
Well, I think it's amazing technology, but I just, at the time, I'm sure it's way better now. At the time, I didn't like the way it sounded. The fidelity of it was not happy.
That's what a lot of people said about the adaptive too. They just said it was too harsh. It was really very bright and very, very brash, very harsh.
Doesn't Martin Audio have that system too? They have something like that, Martin?
No.
I don't know. Who else has that?
I don't know who else has a straight line.
I didn't know anybody else had an adaptive system. Everybody else hangs in a J.
If anyone would know, it would be Kenny Newman, and he just walked into the room. So we'll see what he says.
Wait a minute. No.
What was the question?
Who does adaptive?
Besides the Anya and Rankus's version 1, I don't know whatever happened to Rankus.
What adaptive as in?
Well, like the straight column, and you program it to program the sound to shoot down onto the floor in certain areas.
Adaptive, like the Westgate Hotel showroom where Barry Manilow's playing.
Bose, yeah. So the Martin did, not that, but it did. What do you call that? Where it control the coverage.
They don't call the MLA a line array, but in essence, it sort of is.
Is that the Martin
line array adjustment? But
you always said that MLA stood for Magic Line Array.
Could be.
Has anybody experienced the new the L-Acoustics, those huge ass cabinets that they have 2 of, either the straight one or the straight one that curves at the bottom? Have you guys listened to, I don't know what it's called, but
it's called L2, and I haven't heard it yet.
You ever heard it? No.
We got a hot flash. Chris Cruz
wait a minute.
Chris Cruz just walked into the room. I'm going to interrupt everybody because I wanted to ask him how he's doing right now. He's a victim of this fire. Chris, you want to give us an update of where everything is with you in your life? I think you're muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. I can't even find you.
Looks like he's driving. Are you driving, Chris?
All right, I just unmuted you, Chris.
Thank you, sir. Hi, everybody. Oh, I just, I guess, what was it? Sunday was or I guess it was Sunday or Monday, and I just kind of wanted to go home, and, you can't. That's just
I'm sorry, man.
It's such an intellectually, just something as simple as that. And, it's really weird. And believe me, everyone else, this guy who lives behind me, he's got a wife and 2 small kids, and they're fully freaked. I mean, they just don't know how to handle this. It's so awful.
Yeah. Chris, you sent me a little video Ring doorbell of the Porsche guy. You can't see it, but I am going to show it right now for everybody to look at.
Okay.
And I am showing it right now.
So this is across there's my ADU, the gray building with the white 4Runner, and this guy is trying
That's Chris in the 4Runner right there.
Yeah, and this guy's trying to extract a Porsche ST, which there are only 1,963 examples of this car, and there's one of them right there. And there he goes, and then Jan can show the picture of that guy's house after.
Oh, that was that guy's house. We saw it. I showed that picture a minute ago.
So yeah, Chris, you shutting the garage door didn't make any difference, huh?
It didn't, I shut the guy's garage door and, just because I don't want it to be an ember trap. And,
sure.
But I've got new news. I mean, this friend of mine who's an architect that lives just down the street, she had two Airstreams. One was kind of an older one, and she had, with a crappy interior, so she got it for cheap. She actually had her office in there. And then she had the new one for actually like going out and camping. One was up top, one was down below. Her house burned. There are no traces of those vehicles except for the axle.
Really?
There's no like aluminum puddles or anything. They evaporated. They evaporated. And I'm just telling you that the word that I heard somebody use is, the fire was literally an incinerator, and that is precisely what it was. It incinerated the entire Palisades Bluff. Crazy shit, man.
That's insane. Yeah. So how are you doing? How are you personally right now?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, I'm keeping myself busy, which I think keeps me from too much self-introspection. And I'm also, it's kind of like being on an aircraft and, okay, my mom needs her oxygen mask first. She's 95. She lost everything. So I'm just trying to get her situation stabilized. So we were fortunate. We found her a house, and that's fantastic. And we're paying, a completely reasonable price for it. So that's really good news. But yeah, it's just, it's tough. There's no question about it, man.
Well, it's shocking that you're okay. It's got to be so shocking, because it's one thing if you plan to move and you're going to move and you're going to pack up all your belongings and you're going to move and you'll get out of that house and everything and you'll move on. But when it's just thrown on you at a moment's notice, that has got to be so shocking to you as a person. It's like, wow, it just hurts. It's on your core.
You're forced to move. You can't go home anymore, and it's just like, wow, what's all that? And it's.
Can you imagine all the people that have families and kids? I see on the news they show kids that are, we're moving to a different school and stuff like that. Can you imagine that? Oh, that's just heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, I mean this guy with the Porsche. So he's got two small kids. I don't know. They've got to be maybe 6 or 8, and they're just lost. And same thing, their school burned down. So, and they finally, he's from Australia. They just decided to just pack it up and go back. And
wow.
And that was even in and of itself another shock, right? Because when you get back, to somewhere else, no one really understands what's happened to you.
Oh yeah.
It's like PTSD, man. You're just, it's really crazy.
Now, have you been back to your ADF, whatever it is?
The ADU,
have you been back to your house?
Additional dwelling unit. Yeah, I mean, I've made it back once, and that's it. So, I've got some air tags in there, and the air tags are getting pinged every morning between 9 and 10:30, which is the security men that are just coming to check on the house. So, I kind of got the impression that that my things are still there, and wow, we're getting passed by a couple of police, 3, 4 cruisers. Wow, I don't know what's going on. They're coming to get you, Jan, but they're going to have to drive far.
So Chris, is there 3 houses on your property? Is that what the deal is?
No, there were 2 structures, just the main house and the ADU.
Okay, the ADU we saw where your Forerunner was, and your main house is up the hill farther back of it.
Yeah, the main house you can't see in that photo. The ADU blocks your vision of it, but it's that hillside's, I've got a pretty good pitch to it, and the main house is up top, and it's just toast, man. There's like nothing bigger, left than like the size of a toaster. I mean,
absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like refrigerators and granite in the kitchen, and just it's like all reduced to nothing. It's that's also really hard.
Chris, for all of us who've been here, on Jan's wonderful group, I remember you. What were you cooking, a ham upstairs?
Oh no, I was cooking I think that was for Christmas. I was cooking a roast beef.
Yeah, upstairs in the house.
Exactly. And then I took you guys out and kind of showed you the hillside and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Must have been one that I missed.
Well, it's on YouTube. You can go up and look at it. There it is.
Yeah, and all of that
just
it is, and this guy that lives behind me sent me his ring front door video, and you can just see the embers flying by in every sense of the compass, and his little, well-watered dark green bushes are burning. That's how hot it is. It's just crazy.
Wow. I gotta say, Chris, I mean, a firestorm is like a quick hurricane.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of hurricanes. I think you're right. Yeah.
Except it's a lot hotter.
Yeah. It's a lot like a cold shower, except it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly like a cold shower, but it's much hotter. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. There's a clip.
So
okay,
I've missed a few of these, and I'm behind. But Chris, were you fortunate enough to have an active insurance policy, or were you...
Yeah, so we have an insurance policy, and it looks so far like they're being very cooperative, and the amount in the policy is going to get paid out, and they've sent the check, and honestly, it feels pretty good for the moment. I've heard horror stories about farmers, and I've heard,
oh Lord,
and I've heard kind of less than adequate about State Farm. And I think somebody told me they were with someone was with Chubb, which is pretty high end stuff, and apparently they're having some issues. So you just never know.
Several years ago, State Farm split to, they have it's a separate company that covers California from their main company. I just spoke to my broker actually yesterday, and he's in the LA area. I called him just to check on him basically, and he's told me that he's going to have to probably close up. He thinks State Farm will be out of California altogether in probably 2 to 3 years, and he's planning on just shutting his business down and moving east. And he had already been thinking about it because he can't survive on auto policies and life insurance.
Oh yeah, no, there's no margins there. Yeah.
I'll tell you a little. I got to say one thing that's a little humorous. As you were talking about it, and then you said something about farmers, and I said to myself, where he lived, I didn't know there were any farms. And then of course I realized you were talking about insurance.
So
right.
So Chris, I know this is really early. But your gut feeling, do you think you're going to rebuild, or do you think you're just going to get?
Oh no, absolutely.
What do you think you're going to do?
We're already we've already been downtown to the building place, and we're fast tracking our permit. I think we'll have a permit here in another 2 or 3 weeks, which doesn't really matter because no one is going to be able. So the order is that it needs to have debris removal. FEMA has offered to do that, but be advised that FEMA claws back that money from your insurer later. So FEMA is going to do the cleanup. Then there will be soil testing, and the testing has to pass. And then once the soil testing has passed, then you can actually start building. So it's going to be a minute before they get all that debris out of there. I mean, we're talking about 1,200 homes that have to be hauled out. So
right, and I know you're not in this food chain, but had you heard any, any chat about where they're going to put all this crap? Because when they start shoveling this all out of there, it's got to go in a canyon someplace and get buried with a bunch of pipes with filters on it or something. It's got to,
that's
what a project.
Really, really good question, because the sheer volume makes me think that they're going to, probably have to go out and grab some federal land somewhere in the middle of nowhere that's got no fault lines and, dig a hole. I mean, I don't know. It's a great question.
Well, what did they do in Hawaii when they had a similar thing there?
Oh, in Lahaina. Well, they probably just dumped it on Zuckerberg's land.
They've done it.
I watched a video on it last couple of days, and the guy was up with a what do you call a drone, and basically covered the whole area. And there's all but maybe two properties that have not been cleaned off yet. But again, my question is, where did all that? Because hazardous material. Where did that shit go?
Oh, I'm telling you, man.
Maui is mostly. Maui. I was going to say Maui is mostly wood. It's not like L.A., so they can just, the materials are not as poisonous.
Yeah, I'm worried that they're going to want to put that shit in Yucca Mountain.
Jan, that photo they sent of the guy's house after it's burned out, zoom in on the front wheel of the car, and just kind of front off to the left is a pool of lithium.
Yeah.
So imagine how many Teslas burned in the Palisades. I mean, my God, it probably numbers into the hundreds. And all of that, plus all of the toxic, crap. Yeah, I mean, this debris is going to be really nasty stuff. I mean, no question about it.
What about the people with asthma and shit,
Well, so the air quality in general on the west side, which is where I'm on the 405 heading up the Sepulveda Pass. So out here on the Santa Monica side, the air has not been too good. It's actually better air over the hill on the valley side, and a lot of folks are wearing masks.
That's a switch.
Not yeah. But for but for the actual right reason, and so you see a lot of folks are wearing masks, particularly those that are anywhere in the downwind from the burn.
We got a bad air alert here today in Thousand Oaks, but we have not seen much smoke at all.
Yeah, there's that picture. I'm showing that picture right now. And I think that he's talking about right here.
Oh, that's a Tesla.
Yeah, that's it right there. And if you zoom in, man, you'll just see this pool of hardened liquid. And,
I don't know if I don't have that ability to zoom in. I don't believe I'm not that. But
you can see it. It's like a little bit reflective on the pavement.
Let's
and there it is.
No, that's as big as it's as big as it'll get. But it's insane.
And that's what the whole neighborhood looks like. All the houses look like that.
Yeah, well, that's the high rent district for you.
So I got to tell you, back when I lived in Shadow Hills, we had let's see, it was probably in the mid '90s. We had a pretty good fire. It was the fire that burned the back hillside, station fire. It was a station fire. And when I put air conditioning in my house, I had to have all the vents redone in the house. It was a major job. It was almost 10 grand. I had to put a new furnace in and a new and put in. The house didn't have air conditioning, so I had to have all new ducts. So anyway, I decided at one point for $700, which I'm sure it's more now, to get which was about 6 inches high. It's a high voltage air purification system, and your furnace sits on top of it and it sucks the air up through it, right? Well, I didn't realize what a great purchase that was, because during that fire, we had the worst air on earth, and I had moved up our street. We had a cul-de-sac street, and about 4 houses away, this couple lived, and they were in their 80s, and one of them had, the wife had asthma, and I moved them down with me for 4 days because with my air circulation system running in the house, neither air conditioning or heat, but just I could run the fans to bring air through the circulating system. You couldn't even smell the smoke in my house. In fact, it cut down almost all of the dust in my house too. And I would just pull. They were little coils, little tiny coils and plates, and in the 6-inch unit, and you'd pull 2 pieces out, and you'd stick them in the dishwasher once a week, and then you'd throw them back in, let them dry out, and turn them on. And what it would do is it would charge the air either positive or negative being dragged through the coils. And the first coil was positive, and the second coil was negative. I don't know, some tricky ass thing.
Yeah, they would stick to the diode.
Right,
yeah.
It would stick to the diode, so you could. It was like on a really dirty car day when you could run your finger and the car is so dirty. And I would clean those plates like once a week during the fire season, and it would be just dirty, just like that. And it worked. Oh my God, it worked so good. You couldn't even smell it in the house. And they lived with me for a week and were absolutely fine in my house. And we had soot and crap all over everything. It was just, and this fire reminded me of that. And I thought to myself, God, man, it would be nice if we had that purification system in this house, because we don't. But if any of you guys have to put in a new heating system in your house at some point, highly consider that, because it's really good system. And if you get stuck in a fire like that, it takes care of the air in the house. It's just unbelievable.
There's a company called AirDog that I have 2 of them in my house, and I pull the things out once a month. It's all electrostatic, so it's not ozone based. It's electrostatic, and once a month I take them out, wash them.
Now you have standalone systems.
Yeah, the standalone systems. It's like a humidifier. Look, it's a stand up thing. It's about 3.5, 4 feet tall.
I wondered if they were any good. So they're good.
Look up the company. It's called AirDog.
AirDog.
Bruce.
AIRDOG.
AIRDOG. Okay.
Because
I thought
tip of the week.
Because in all the Korean department stores, they have these stand-up ones that stand on their own, and I really wondered if they were any good or not. And I've talked to my wife about it a couple of times, and I thought about getting a couple of them because our house is about 1,700 square feet, but I haven't. And I just kept thinking about the system that was in my other house, and it was just so rock solid. It was unbelievable.
I think I saw some of those in a Korean, boy pop band. They had the air purifiers out there.
Yeah. So the system in my other house was all Lennox.
Lord.
And the system, the air conditioner was a 5-ton. I'll think of the name in a minute, but it was a
Carrier.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was way. No, the people that put it in said the Carrier stuff was harder to get parts for. It wasn't that reliable, so I got the other system. But this was like in the 90s.
While we're live, yeah, there's fire alerts in LA. Are you? Yeah, I'm watching it. I mean, I'm watching.
Well, if you guys haven't downloaded Watch Duty yet, I highly recommend it. It's a free app, and as you could see, there were 4 or 5 different. I mean, there's one down at the bottom.
Yeah, there was a fire over by Santa Clarita that quickly engulfed like 5,000 acres, and
it's up to 10,000 by now. It's up to 10,000 by now. They evacuated Valencia. They evacuated Valencia. My friend Brian and his family had to get out of their home.
And they're reopening the interstate here shortly, apparently. So
reopening, okay, well that's a good sign.
Yeah, I know the 5 was closed for quite a while. I don't know. You said they're going to reopen it.
That's what it says.
And what about Santa Clarita itself? Are they evacuating there?
No, Santa Clarita is a big area. It includes Valencia.
It's tough now because they grounded the fixed wing for tonight because of the wind and the darkness, but the helicopters are going to keep going, and I think it looks like, I mean, it's still pretty bright.
I'm showing the evacuation warning zone being right at the Santa Clarita line.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you look at my screen right now, you could see that this is Watch Duty, and we move it down. So there's one here called the Mets Fire. And then you go down further. This one is called
right there, the inland
Pozo Fire, And then you go a little further. Let me do this. Yeah, look at all these fires. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Well,
11, 12.
Bruce's app, the
That's insane amount of.
Bruce's link, that's good, but the link that
I just posted it again.
Yeah, you look in the chat.
All right, what is it?
It's www.fire.ca.gov. And
yeah,
that
that's the site I use.
You're right, and it updates every like 30 seconds or so, and you
Is
can
that
look
the Genesis-based system?
There you go.
It sucks data off of Genesis.
Same thing with Watch Duty. And that Genesis is the master.
So this is the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, and it shows right now there are 240 wildfires, 35,975 total emergency responses.
But let's just talk about the Hughes fire, which is Lake Hughes, north of Castaic Lake, is 9,435 acres right now. Zero containment.
Yeah. That fire was at 5,000 about 3 hours ago.
Right.
Wow.
It's moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just brush, that whole area, right?
the Eaton fire is
just tons of it.
There's a water treatment plant that it was getting close to a water treatment plant by Lake Castaic, but I think they saved that. And now, I mean, Fox 11's got the, pretty much 24-hour coverage on it now.
Yeah, KCAL. I'm on KCAL, KCBS. If you turn on their YouTube channel, they're on it.
When I was a kid growing up in San Diego, in 1970, we had the Laguna fire, which burned 175,000 acres. Fortunately, I just read, I'd saved it from before, 384 homes were lost in that. Fortunately, a lot of that burn was in unoccupied area. Now, however,
I remember that one.
If you were to do the same footprint now,
oh my God,
it's all built up, right?
Oh God.
Yeah. Every year I used to go down there to watch the pageant of the Masters, but I believe that it burned down, right?
That's Laguna.
That's Laguna. It's still there that I know of. But...
Yeah, no, Laguna's still there.
That's a pretty impressive show, that pageant of the Masters.
It is. I've seen it once. It was great.
I loved it. I mean, it's, if you don't know what it is, basically they reconstruct a famous painting with live. It's live, whether you see the actors walk into place, they're in costume, and they recreate a famous artwork from
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing how they do it.
And it
really,
looks
really good.
It looks perfect 2-dimensional as opposed to 3. That's what they do. That's the magic.
Yeah, and they put the frame around them and everything, so it looks like the picture. The frame is around them, and it's just amazing.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, Jan, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know we're getting near the end.
No, we're never near the end, Greg. You're a young man. You've got a long time before you. Long time to go.
This is the end.
I'm sorry to. I made the mistake of saying an open-ended question to Jan Landy. Who's going to NAMM? Please raise your hand.
Okay, well,
Chris?
David's going.
I'm gonna go on Friday if I can.
Right, David.
I'm going tomorrow.
Bruce?
I'm not going. No, I didn't. My tickets didn't come through with who I thought I was going to get them from.
Oh man, I could have gotten you tickets. Should have asked.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Me?
2 people. Yeah, it's the first time that ever didn't come through.
I thought it would be easy, and I just forgot where I got them last year. But I called OSA, and he said, "Nope, too late. It's been the window."
Usually,
expired.
Mary Lou, not Mary Lou,
Mary Chu.
Mary Chu. Yeah, usually puts it together.
But anyway, but Digico came through for me and gave me a pass, so I'm going on Digico.
Oh, very nice. Yes. Say hi to Matt Larson for me. Tell him the story. Oh, you missed the story. Tell him about the White House. See if you can get an invitation to the White House. You know, which is a restaurant in Anaheim.
So I got a question. What happened to Carrie Underwood's music?
Not only Carrie.
Well, hold on. I have here's what I have as an overall big picture information, which I got from Tom. I don't think he'd mind me sharing this. You know, Tom Strebel.
Yep.
Right. Who talked to Pat Baltzell or texted Pat Baltzell? He said, first of all, when it went inside, here's some of the tidbits of information that Tom gave me. He said when it moved inside, Pat got hands off and said it'll just be a consultant because it was basically, pardon the expression, but a shit show, right?
It had to be a clusterfuck. Are you kidding?
Well, listen.
I mean, with no time at all to move.
So here's the thing. It was, you know, he said it was he turned it over to the, what did he call it? The Marines or whatever? The Marine Band. Yeah. The Marine Band people.
Yep.
And they were going to run it. So what kind of knowledge do they have of doing sound and playback for a pop singer? I wonder if they're ready for that. So
well, listen, it had to be a nightmare. Had to be a nightmare. Just think of all those people, and the president, of course, the Secret Service had to clear out the building, run the dogs through it, check for everything. I mean, it had to be a nightmare to do that. A nightmare.
Well, not to mention that room is acoustically a nightmare.
Oh,
because
totally.
It's a round room, right? It's a round room, isn't it?
And with a dome ceiling.
A round room with huge high ceilings.
So forget about that.
And it's all stone and concrete, man. What a nightmare.
So did they even have a separate broadcast mix? Or did they just have one console for everything? What do you know?
I had Newsmix on all day, and the room actually, from Newsmax's feed, I was surprised at how well it sounded, to be honest with you.
I want to add a little story. I want to add a little story to this. So Bo and I went to the White House, a couple of months ago, right? We went to the White House, and we went to, not only did we go to the White House, we went to the Capitol building, and we were in that that floor, and what they show you is that the way it was designed is that in the old days when they built it, the congressmen were able to talk to other congressmen just by whispering, and you could hear it on the other side of the room. So the acoustics in that and the reverb had to be astronomically difficult.
You know what?
For sound.
So but you'll know, Kenny, you'll know this, and so does Wayne Pierce. The Beverly Wilshire Hotel is designed the same way. It's got that dome, and you can stand at one end of the room and whisper, and they hear you at the other end. So the only way to do that room efficiently is get speakers up in the air and angle them down so you're shooting just into the audience. And what I noticed about the service, was it yesterday, Monday, whenever it was, is whoever had done the sound, which I didn't have a clue once they moved it inside, they used crank up towers with like 6-box little small line arrays on each one.
I didn't even see that. I saw speakers on sticks.
Yeah, they had some wing fill that was on sticks, but they did have like a couple of yeah, Craig, go ahead. You got a little info on that?
Not on what you're saying. I do have info from, I'm not going to say it publicly, but...
Well, don't say it. Just an unnamed source would be good enough.
Right. Who was doing production for that gig. You are correct, Kenny. They were, everybody, because of security, were thrown off. It was to an E3 person from the gig, and then they were so ticked off at that company, they threw them off for all of the Capital One arena gigs. And as bad as it was for Carrie, Mr. Cyrus live gig at Capital One was just an epic fail. And everybody got the production company got blamed, but they weren't even in the building.
So MSI normally handles the sound for the outdoor inauguration. I don't know if they had anything to do with the indoor inauguration or any of the other events. Any of the other events. But was it so? What Tom said was something about Marine Band people. But is it White House Communications or Marine Band?
No. It's.
Well, I would bet it would be the Capitol people that would take over the people, because they have their own PA system in there. They have their own production people. The Capitol does for congressmen and senators.
AV or something.
Yeah, something like that. Internal stuff.
I have two quick things. One, everybody knows that in a reverberant room, the way to do it is to make it so loud that you squish the echoes against the back wall. That's number one. Number two, I'm completely amazed that Pat Baltzall is not retired and would even bother to be within a million miles of that. I thought he was.
Well, he's in that mode that I think Bruce is kind of in, which is he picks and chooses. So he probably does high-profile gigs like the Oscars. He's doing that. And that might be the only thing he does all year is the Oscars.
And maybe the NFL halftime show, maybe.
I wonder if he does. He doesn't do the Super Bowl for a long time. But he might do the Capitol 4th or the Capitol Memorial Day thing. Yeah. He might do those two and the Oscars. And inauguration is
I know he does the 4th of July. I know that he does the 4th of July.
Still?
He did last year.
Okay, so he probably still does that. So that's the mode he's in, is pick and choose. But the thing is, if I were him, I'd be inauguration. That's the biggest gig of the year, of the century. That's the most important thing you could do. But then when they move it inside,
it's a 4-year gig every 4 years. Yeah,
right. And it's huge. I mean, the design on that when they do it outside is a real challenge, and they have succeeded at that challenge repeatedly. So it's really a great feeling when you can cover sound for 1 million people. It's great. Yeah. But then when they move it inside and they start messing with you, I'm sure he was just like, no, I don't need to be involved in that. I'll be a consultant if you want.
Well, they moved it inside within what, a day's notice, 2 days notice.
2 days. 2 days.
Yeah, but I think still, it was 48 hours.
So, the year that Barack gave his speech at Mile High Stadium, the year that convention happened, and he had done the Republicans, and he was doing the Emmys, and I went in there when I was still doing the Emmys press room, and I was chatting with him, and he doesn't know me very well, but enough to chat. And he launched off, and it's probably a little long for this particular meeting, but if you remind me some other time, I'll tell the story. But he launched into a story about the design of the Mile High Stadium system, and somebody who was giving him shit about it. It was pretty epic.
But I know the man as well, and there's no excuse for no playback.
Right. That's a really simple. Obviously, something that wasn't backed up broke or something like that. Yeah. And so it was just amateur city. I liken it to, based on what Tom told me, I likened it to treating the whole gig like a high school musical. It's like, oh yay, let's have a show. Oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they're not true professionals that do this for a living all the time. Amen. They're people that maybe be event planners or something, and people that do occasional gigs, but they're not Pat Baltzell, and they're not people that do it all the time like Bruce or Wayne. They're just people that do it occasionally. And so when came to that, and I do not put sabotage out of the question either. I would not be surprised if somebody was pissed off about something and they said, screw it, I'm not going to play it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call that sabotage, but I would love the fact that we're starting our own conspiracy theories right now, right here.
Why not? Why not?
No.
Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
It was sabotage, I tell you. Just remember, though, everything you hear today is an opinion, so do your own research.
This is the furthest thing from fact. This is the furthest thing from fact that you could talk about. But I think it's a possibility. It's not impossible,
Hey, look, everyone in this room who's done a show with non-professionals will agree with me when I say that. And if you don't, I don't care. But I'm telling you, I used to do all of these charity events, and I'd work with the charity people and the corporate people, and they have no fucking idea of what's involved with production and putting on a show. And I can't imagine all of these politicians with all of their egos about the size of the galaxy, trying to talk to all these audiovisual people. If they were even not professional or whatever, it doesn't matter. It was a complete fuck up. I mean,
here's another conspiracy. Can I throw this into the pot? You know how, and Elon, this is just totally a stupid theory that I have, but Elon is, Department of Efficiency or something, right? So he's trying to make sure that they don't spend too much money. He saw somebody like Pat Baltzell or MSI's, invoice or proposal or quote or whatever you want to call it, and said, "Oh, we don't need that. Oh, we do sound for my events for half that all the time." Blah blah blah. And he chop, and he chopped it and made it so it was unreasonably unprofessional.
And before anybody, speaking as a man who's mixed rockets, have you ever listened to a SpaceX launch versus, well, I'm going to toot my own horn, my Artemis 1 launch mix, they sound like a high school pep rally.
They do, and sometimes they don't even know where they're sitting.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Greg, I've got that on recording, and when I'm sitting around trying to work and block out the world, I play it in the background. It's like a wonderful thing. Wonderful, I tell you.
Well, how about this for a theory? All right. The guy mixing this show was only marginally familiar with a digital console, and there was a patch that just didn't happen.
I remember we heard a half a second of her track. We heard a half a second of her track, and then nothing. And then we heard a minute of silence, and that was the most awkward minute ever.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
And
really?
and I mean, all I could say is that I didn't see the whole thing because I was sleeping at the time, but I did watch a little bit, and I saw it on one of the late night talk shows, how hilarious it was, how they were waiting for her to come out, the president, the vice president, all the congressmen, the senators, ex-presidents sitting in a room.
45 minutes.
It was like insane. And then I saw the takeoff of this the Cyrus guy. He didn't even know if his microphone was plugged in, nor his guitar.
I mean, we could talk about the rotunda, and there are concerns about that. But you're set up at Capital One Arena with arrays, full setup for a political gig. And what happened with Billy Ray? Nobody that I know can explain it. Everybody's hamana.
Well, I didn't watch it. What happened? And what was the result of what happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, it was awful. Ken, you just gotta
watch it on YouTube.
I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Watch it on YouTube. It's hilarious. I mean, unless you're involved in it, I guess.
Right.
I mean,
if you're there, yeah.
No.
I was doing audio visual in grade 5. I did better production than that.
Well, Kenny, it was way worse than your artist saying, I'm stopping the show.
I went to see Roger Waters'
it was
Wall
so
tour.
Bad.
Hold on. We can't talk over each other. So.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Finish your thought.
No, Wayne, you go.
I was just going to say, No, I'll finish it and then go ahead, Wayne. It was so bad, Kenny, that he kept going, and it was bad. Go ahead, Wayne.
So I went to see the Wall when Roger Waters was out, and I went and saw it at the LA Coliseum.
I was there. I saw that. It was a great show.
Yeah, but if you recall, they started playing the second song, and something was not patched in properly. They were having issues, and Roger Waters stopped the show.
That's right.
And he made them fix it, and it took a few minutes, and they fixed it. And he said, we're going to do it. We're going to take the time. We're going to figure it out. We got good people here, and we're going to go ahead. And it took a couple of minutes, and then they went on. I mean, because it was the inauguration, and everybody's making this fucking big to do. But this shit happens every fucking day in our industry, and it's how you handle it that counts. And I didn't watch the Capital One stuff at all. I've seen a clip of Carrie Underwood just at the very end saying, "I'll just sing it," and she sang great. So
she did beautiful.
Here's the thing.
Let's move on.
The amount of kickback for a mistake or a technical issue is relative to how simple that issue should have been. That should have been a really simple push the button, turn it on, have it on, push play, and it plays. That's a simple execution.
Now,
but apparently,
what?
You know what I mean?
I'll bet. And a while back, Jan, you and I had this conversation. I'll bet the playback machine, because many people, and you guys can all vouch for yourselves, but when I was having this conversation about backup playback machines, you were pretty amazed that I bring backup everything when I'm in front of house on a show, and Wayne does too. Wayne Pierce, and I'll bet, and Kenny, you do too. I've seen you have backup for everything. And you know what? And I personally, knock on wood, I've been bringing backup twice as many computers to every damn show, and I've never had to use one. And it's the time you don't have it that something goes wrong. And when I saw that happen, I at first didn't think, I was like, well, is she supposed to be singing a track, or is the Marine band supposed to be playing? Because it's kind of a military kind of a tune. And then I started to think about it, and I thought, I'll bet you some stupid computer, and it barked and it went down, and they didn't have backup. And I would have been all over that, because that's what we do.
I'm going to take it a step further, Bruce. How much you want to bet that those "Let's Have a Show" people were playing it from their fucking iPhone?
Let me ask a question.
Or a 360 system from 1974.
Well, that would be reliable.
Yes.
But playing it from an iPad or an iPhone, that could be a joke.
Let me ask a question that nobody's touched on yet. So we've all been subject to this, where the room is really, really crowded, and the amount of space that you are allotted shrinks down to frickin' nothing, to where you can barely have anything.
You can't bring all those computers.
I'd be interested to know if being crammed into a completely inadequate space because you had all these people in there played a part in this.
Or what if they had all the production? What if they said, "Hey, there's no room in this room for front of house. We have to do it. You have to do it from the hallway."
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the case. Don't you think?
I've seen situations where people have these little digital consoles, and they have one computer up on top of the deck of the digital console running smart, and the other one next to it running playback, and that's all they got. And I think to myself, I wouldn't do the gig before I put myself in that position,
I mean, not for a real gig.
They're running it off an iPad.
For a lounge band, yeah.
Yeah, a lounge band.
For a bar band, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Not for a real gig.
Hey guys, and Jan and guys, I texted you the updated lineup for Fire Aid. I've got to run, but I just wanted to.
All right. Well, we've been on a long time, but listen, I'm just going to change the subject really quick, because the name of the show was the Thai Wedding Reception, and I never showed it to you guys. So we got married in Las Vegas. We had our Thai reception in Chupan, Thailand, and I'm going to share you just a few bits of me. Here you go. That's me carrying the. Here you go.
What were you carrying?
The elephant.
Cake?
The elephant.
Over 150 people showed up.
Nice.
Got lots of pictures. We'll talk about it again later. But back to what we were talking about now. Everybody.
I'm gonna jump in here, David, before you leave, and please update me on your NAM discoveries. All of this, what we've discussed for the past 10 minutes, just goes to show y'all how dependent artists are on click tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Yeah,
I mean, she showed how professional she is by singing it a cappella very nicely, and
Absolutely.
It was almost like it was planned.
She did a beautiful job.
But it was the pregnant pause and the half second of playback was the giveaway that was not what was planned. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they were all just looking forward. They were all looking forward to the Village People later on, as the same.
Yeah.
Boy, that was terrible.
And I'm telling y'all, listen to the. Just Google and watch the Capital One.
What was that called? Like, is it a reception or something?
Look,
it was like the ball.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, that's all. Just look at the inaugural ball or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Billy Ray Cyrus and
so it's
Trump.
Called inaugural ball. Yeah, right.
I already did it. I have it ready to go. Billy Ray Cyrus and Trump, and it'll say inaugural Liberty Ball or whatever it's called on YouTube. And you can
paste the link into the chat.
And Miley wasn't dancing around naked?
No. That's her father.
I know.
So I'm my guess is when I saw that he was playing there, I thought, I wonder if she was involved or she steered clear of that because she's probably not a Trump fan at all.
She did.
I don't want to say that the lineup was like something from the 70s and a horrible lineup of talent, but what the hell, what do I know? I've got, my taste is not the same as his taste, that's for sure. But the amount of talent or the lack of it was off the hook horrible.
It was, it was a
whole clusterfuck. The whole thing is a clusterfuck. That's
there's
all
a whole. I just Googled it. You search for it on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of videos. There's even one that says Billy Ray Cyrus breaks silence on Trump inauguration performance after his equipment, something or other.
Saying,
so he must have talked about it afterwards.
Glad that I was invited and blah blah blah. He was going to sing behind backing.
He says, "Check. Is anybody awake?" That's nice. Almost as good. It's almost as good as the opening line from Truth or Dare by Madonna.
Hey, well, listen. Let's stay in the room, but we've been broadcasting for over an hour now, so we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Remember, thanks for watching. Click the like button. Everything you heard today was an opinion, so do your own research. And again, like I said, thanks for watching. You make it happen. Have a great week, everybody. We'll be back again. By the way, this has been 243 consecutive weeks in a row, so I'm really proud of all of us, and myself included, to keep up with it, because, it's easy to do something else, really easy. But I love what we're doing. We're building up something really nice. We've got over 425 subscribers now.
Wow.
Who knows how many people are listening on YouTube and Facebook and wherever we are. And we didn't even get to talk about TikTok, but hey, that's another time for next week. So remember, click the like button, share the show, and